Alright everybody, I'm going to tell you a cool story about how I shot 10 artists in one weekend. I was able to photograph 2 different concerts in my local area, so let's get into the story. Alright, so here's a story about how I was able to shoot 10 artists in one weekend, 2 different concerts, so let's get into it. So it all starts actually 4 months ago when I shot my first artist here locally. That was kind of a major artist, I like to say. I shot Mitchell Tenpenny at a little local festival out in Hastings. He performed for like an hour or so, and I was able to shoot the first 3 songs, which was really awesome. My first official press pass, which is kind of cool. So that was kind of the first experience I got, and I just kind of loved the taste of the concert photography world and wanted to keep evolving and keep going into it. But I didn't want to take the route that I had seen a lot of other people take, and that's the hip-hop rap route. I don't want to say they were chasing clout because a lot of them are cool people, but that just kind of seems to be where the energy is and kind of the popularity is right now, is kind of the rap and hip-hop world, and I wanted to do something a little different. So these 2 events were kind of where I wanted to be in my wheelhouse, so to speak. The first event was Cities 97. The second event was K102, both iHeartRadio members in the Minneapolis area. So I was able to get this through iHeartRadio contact, which was really cool. Got to do both shows. Both of them were charity shows, which is probably what they wanted to go kind of as hard as they did in the event coverage kind of side and all the photos that were taken. The first night was for Cities 97. There were 6 artists at the show. The show lasted like 4 hours, which was really fun to kind of just shoot for a good amount of time and get all the photos you can that way. So I shot with another artist, shout out Andrew. He works at the Armory as an in-house photographer, so we were able to tag team that the first night. I did a lot more of the artist photos just to kind of get my feet wet, so to speak, and there's other sponsor stuff and other little events that were going on too that needed to be shot. So all those had to get done as well, but I wasn't responsible for as much stuff the first night. So we shot that stuff. It was great. We actually were supposed to do some uploading as the show went on. So luckily the GH5, which I shot most of the photos on, has Wi-Fi on it, so I was able to dump the JPEGs on my phone. I shot RAW plus JPEG for this, dump them on my phone so that I could quickly edit them and throw them up on Drive so they could share them kind of as the night went on, which was really fun. And then of course, fully edit them on the computer after the show. I did have to turn both of these events around before 6 a.m. the next day, which is kind of a crazy experience. I was up till 2 a.m. editing, and I like to joke that it was not the best experience, but I really loved the shooting, the editing, the whole thing from this weekend, so it was really fun overall. So I jumped back in. I had a day in between the 2 concerts, which was really nice to kind of rest and relax from being up at 2 a.m. So the next concert was for K102, a smaller amount of artists, but still a charity concert, so it was 4 artists that night. Which was really fun. They probably each got a little bit of a longer set, which was kind of fun to kind of explore more of the world. A kind of interesting story that happened the first night actually, which I should highlight because it's kind of a good lesson learned. I was running around in the pit and hadn't really got a lot of a pit experience before, which is kind of shown by this story. And I was running around and there was a loose panel, and unfortunately I tripped on it. Now this wouldn't have been a big deal, but of course I have a camera in my hand that costs $2,000. So that actually comes out of my hand and hits the ground, but then kind of that insult to injury there, the lens on the camera was a rental and it physically gets bent. So you would be able to see up close that the housing came off and the glass was out of alignment so much that some of the picture was in focus and the other part wasn't, even though the camera thought everything was good. So unfortunately I had to go back to National Camera the day in between and kind of get all that worked out. But luckily I have a whole stack of vintage lenses that I'm able to use and that I've kind of collected over the years. So that really saved me for night 2 with a little bit of a speed booster kind of thrown in there too to get everything connected together. So jumping back to night 2 here, 4 artists, K102, country artists, which it was a really fun night too because I got all the responsibility that night. I wasn't one of 2 photographers, I was one of 1 photographers. So I had to shoot all the artists, all the sponsors, all the little like side stage events that happened, all the introductions, the crowd, all the different donations that happened, the donation kind of spectacle that happened during the night. I had to shoot all that. It was really a fun time management exercise, just kind of planning, need to be here when and needed to be here at this time, and this happens then, and this happens at a different time. And it was also fun too to shoot different angles and kind of switch lenses and kind of plan all that out too. So shout out to the Black on the Cream community real quick just for letting me do my research and kind of figure out how the concert photography world works and kind of throwing lessons my way. That was really cool. If you want to join Black on the Cream, check it out below. bwnc.com/join is the quickest way to do that. But anyhow, back to the photos. Like I said before, both events had to be turned around by 6 a.m. the next day, so I was up by 2 a.m. both nights editing these photos. Took about 1,000 photos and then compacted them down into like 100 from each night that were really good. So then throw those up on the Dropbox and send them off to the client and get everything taken care of there. I did go back a couple of times and change the white balance on a photo or mess with it a little bit, just because not everything went perfectly. Maybe I was half asleep editing it at 2 a.m., who knows, but that was just how the nights went. So this was kind of a test period too for me with iHeartRadio working together to see if we can kind of work together more in the future. So I really hope that this relationship evolves. It was really fun to kind of get my feet really wet in the concert photography world and kind of get my art out there. Some of the smaller artists from these two shows did post my photos and kind of share my stuff, and I did send them off to the higher end artists too, who had management and kind of had a whole system set up for their social media and whatnot too. So that was kind of a fun thing to kind of dig through and kind of figure out who needs the photos and how to get it to them. And I'm sure the artists and the management appreciate it too. I would if I got free photos from somebody, want to have them out in return too. So that's kind of the story of the full week, and hopefully I didn't leave anything out. If you're curious to know more, check me out on Instagram and DM me there to see the photos, or leave a comment below and I'll answer your questions there too. But anyhow, you can check out my website too to see more of my concert photography work that's been going on since college, but we'll jump into that in another story. So thanks for watching. Have a good day. Peace.